Just exist, bro. It's like take a second and just breathe. Be grateful that you're here. Be grateful that God has given you another moment to like quite literally breathe and exist. And I'm gonna break some down for you. Have you ever felt like you always have to be doing something, grinding, improving, proving yourself, all these different types of things, and you never feel like you can like just like quite literally exist, be in a space to breathe, be creative, be productive in a different way. Well, this is actually in psychology referred to as the productivity paradox, right? Where studies show that oftentimes we tie our self worth to our output. So that leads to burnout, that leads to lack of creativity. And the key thing to remember through this is we weren't, made to constantly be in go mode, always doing something. There is rest, stillness, and simply being are sometimes almost just as, if not more important than the action itself. This makes me think of two things, right? One is prehistoric and evolution of humans, and then the other is modern day successful people. So we'll start with the previous, right? The former, I should say. The first one. If we think about our lineage and we think about our ancestry, we would fight but prepare a long time before those battles. Oftentimes it would look like we would rest. I'm thinking like if we're talking like Civil War and previous to that, like primeval America, we're looking at a time where excuse me, where people would move settlements, set up, do our different things, and literally exist. They would fish, make some food, spend time with each other, and prepare. And the men would prepare for battles, right? They prepare for war. They prepare for whatever was to come next. And there was like this sort of stillness, understanding that you can't fight every single day at every single second. That there is these moments where you have to be quiet. You have to gather yourself and then go out and conquer. Now, moving forward to modern day, I'm thinking of billionaires. I've heard this a few times that a lot of billionaires and even people very wealthy that are nine figure, some eight figure entrepreneurs, they do this thing where they block out time to be still, right? They make it a priority to have time where they rest their minds, right? Where they're not making decisions, where all they're doing is existing and thinking, right? Processing, but not having to actively do a certain thing. And one could argue that, oh, they can do that because they're wealthy, but think about this. As a human, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says, there has to be some moment when you have downtime. That might be when you sleep. That might be 30 minutes, a couple hours here and there if you're like in a super grind mode. But there has to be a time where you can sit, reflect, and progress. That might even be a workout, right? That can be something of the sort, something that gives you a release or a moment to be with yourself. And that's how I see the productivity paradox in a modern and old pastime, I should say. So I said all that to say that this is like predetermined. This is wired into our human lineage, right? This is how we pilgrimed across. Well, my people were a little bit different, guys. You know about that, but you get the idea, right? And I want you to also think about this. Have you ever thought about how easy things come when you stop forcing them? When you stop trying so hard and you allow things to be natural. In terms of what this could be, what this is called, I guess, in psychology, this is the law of least effort, right? The Deepak Chopra, right? The most powerful actions are the ones done with ease and alignment, not force and struggle, right? So you don't have to fight for everything. Sometimes life moves in your favor. And usually when you stop gripping so tight, right? There's this quote I like to live by where it says, what you give attention to appreciates. Or as Tony Robbins would say, where your energy goes, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're dedicating your attention to things that are not positive or to things that are not making you better and helping you grow, then what you're doing is destroying the space for the positive and the good things to develop and grow, because you're putting so much energy towards something that is not serving you, towards something that is going to deprive you of the greatness that you are meant to achieve. And if you stop focusing on such negative things, I know your life can be fucked up. It's cool. That's not when you start focusing on positive things. It's not saying that that's not a reality. It's saying that you understand that that's a byproduct of something, and the only way to shift that is to change your frequency. You change your frequency by changing what you give attention to, right? And it's funny because with that being said, it makes me think about conversations that you have with people, right? Have you ever noticed like the easiest, best conversations and opportunities itself come from when you're just being yourself, when you're just actively doing and existing as you're meant to be, as who you are. And I want this to be very clear too. You need to understand yourself, because the better you understand yourself, the least attention and energy you give to things that don't serve that, right? And if you're trying to figure out what that version of yourself looks like, I recommend that you study the Carl Jung 12 archetypes. Kind of figure out which one you are and operate as such, because that helps you start to understand yourself. And ultimately, you have to understand too that, existing is enough. You're enough, and this can be taken a lot of different ways, but this is how I mean it. You have to understand that you are here, and that in itself means something, right? The fact that you are not dead in the ground means something. So now that you understand that, you have to ask yourself, what am I going to do with this life that I've been given? I am so fortunate not to be dead, thank God. You know what I mean? You have to understand that. And when you sit there and think about it, that gives you a peace, understand that you are enough. Like, you're alive. That's enough. So, and most days, that's all you need to do, right? And when you can give yourself that sort of peace, it's like, okay, I know I don't know everything, but I can try to be better here. And I can just build on this, and maybe this will take me somewhere. That's all it takes, bro. And I think that if more people, put their mindsets toward that direction, or kind of gave themselves the permission to exist in that way and be grateful in that way, then I feel like we would see a lot more peace. Allow yourself to discover yourself. This life shit is a journey. You're not gonna have it all figured out. There's gonna be wins, there's gonna be losses. The only thing you can do is stand on the decisions that you make and trust God through this process, right? Because ultimately, your value isn't in what you do, it's in who you are. And the more in tune and aligned you are with who you are, the easier and better and the quicker your life is going to be, and does change, right? Man, I love this shit. Let me leave you guys one more thing, right? You are not a machine. You are a human being, not a human doing. You just have to exist, bro. Breathe. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't have to prove anything today. You just have to exist. And that's enough. You have to get up and be like, okay, today I want to. And you just have to trust your intuition, and lean into who you are. You don't have to ask for permission. You just have to run and gun with what you think is going to be the best result for what you want in your life. And then trust God to handle the rest. And I think the more you can get comfortable doing that, the faster you'll see your life shift and elevate in ways you can possibly have ever imagined. And that's all it takes. Just exist. I love you guys. If you love this video, of course, leave a like, leave a comment. And as always, there is a community you can join below in the description or in my bio. That being said, I love you guys. I'm going to see you in the next one. Deuces.